This is the most capable, the most combat credible force in the world. It has been, and it will be so going forward.
Not if we continue down this path.
To do that.
Not if we embrace socialism.
The fact that you're embarrassed by your country. By
no. I'm embarrassed by your leadership. I am not embarrassed for my country.
That was just a snippet of the exchange between Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin during a hearing about the Pentagon's budget, the very budget that Matt Gaetz has voted in favor of several times. Important detail as we give you more details about this story. Now, Gaetz has accused Austin of pushing wokeism and socialism in the military. Let's just note for the record that the military is funded through taxpayer money. It is not privately funded. So I guess in a way, the socialism point is correct. But again, Matt Gaetz has voted in favor of that in 2022, 2020, 2019. Interesting. Seems like Matt Gaetz is a proponent of socialism. Now, in his questioning, Gaetz referred to an article published in the conservative Washington Free Beacon in February that reported that economist Thomas Picketty, whose work focuses on economic inequality, would give a lecture at the institution about the case for global justice and democratic socialism to combat China. Austin said he was unaware of the lecture that Gaetz was talking about, prompting Gaetz to retort that it was widely reported. The Florida Republican then asked the Pentagon chief if he agreed that socialism was not an effective way to combat China. Austin tried to seek clarity on the question, but then Gaetz pivoted to say that he noticed the United States has been blowing a lot of calls lately on matters of strategy, which is fascinating because I think Biden's actually done a pretty good job with Ukraine. His unwillingness to implement a no-fly zone, his unwillingness to send troops to Ukraine specifically, those were good choices. And obviously with the support that the Ukrainian government is getting from the West, including of course the United States, they have been able to provide a fierce opposition, fierce resistance to Vladimir Putin and the Russian troops. But I mean, these are facts. And remember, Matt Gaetz is just engaging in kabuki theater to give his voters the illusion of legislating and working hard for them. In reality, he does nothing. Cenk.
Yeah, I have a twist in this story. I actually think that the severity with which Matt Gaetz questioned the defense secretary is not a bad thing. I think the defense secretary should be challenged aggressively, and the defense budget should be challenged aggressively. But as usual, Matt Gaetz, doesn't mean it, and Anna already proved it. He always votes in favor of the bloated defense budgets that he does theatrics against.
There have been a few times that he has voted against it, but the latest National Defense Authorization Act for 2022 this year voted in favor of that, also voted in favor of it in 2020, voted in favor of it in 2019. Like he has voted in favor of the defense budget multiple times. Yeah. And Cenk, I just want to be clear. He had absolutely no interest in grilling Lloyd Austin about government waste, defense spending, coup orchestrating. That was not the line of questioning here. The only thing he wanted to do was present himself as an anti-woke warrior, and that's it. It's all performative. I have no problem asking tough questions in any context of anyone in a position of power. We've given lawmakers a lot of credit when they've done it in the past. I mean, we talk about Katie Porter quite often when she's grilling someone during these House hearings, but this ain't it. This is nothing more than performative garbage that's meant to attack the left for wanting to create a more inclusive environment for people.
Okay, on the other hand, I'm so tired of Democrats and people in the administration, et cetera, going there and bowing their heads. So Austin fought back a tiny bit, and everybody made big headlines about it. We'll get to that in a second, okay? No, you should fight back super aggressively. So when he says, did you know that this lecturer was invited to this educational institution related to the military to talk about socialism? Austin should say, no, I didn't know that. You picked a random lecture. Do you want me to know every lecture at that institution? That doesn't seem like a great use of my time. But more importantly, What did you want me to do, Congressman Gaetz? Did you want me to cancel him? It sounds like you're in favor of cancel culture because I didn't cancel a speaker and I wasn't against his freedom of speech. It looks like you want to try to take that out on me. But I'm an American, Representative Gaetz, and I'm here to defend America. And in America, we're not afraid of a conversation and a dialogue, even if it's about socialism. Are you afraid of that, Representative Gaetz? Is that why you'd like me to cancel that speaker? But of course, since Austin works in a Democratic administration, he's gonna do like 2% of that and then be considered a hero, right? No, go and kick their ass. It will be appreciated. Now, by the way, to Anna's major point about Gaetz, the Pentagon wastes trillions of dollars every year, and you know that, okay? Not every year, overall. Billions, easily hundreds of billions wasted, thrown in the garbage every year. Literally, they will make weapon systems, they'll make fighter jets, they'll make submarines and go, oh, well, it didn't work. It cost a couple $1 trillion, but it didn't work. Throw it in the trash can, we all got rich anyway. Are you challenging them on that? No. Critical race theory? Okay, is that what's wasting trillions of dollars? No, it's the defense contractors that have bribed all of your colleagues. You want to give me a tough guy, Matt Gaetz? Let me see you call out Republicans on the bribes they take from defense companies. Oh, you're not gonna do that because you're full of crap.
Yeah, so why don't we go to some more of this interaction because Gaetz is about to attack him in all sorts of insane, nonsensical ways. And by the way, I've got no love for Lloyd Austin. I think Lloyd Austin is one of the worst cabinet picks for Biden because he's got cozy ties and a long history with private military contractors. With that said, though, this was a perfect opportunity to ask legitimate questions and do legitimate grilling of someone in a position of power. Gaetz squandered that opportunity because it's not about actually serving the best interests of the American people. With that said, let's watch.
We're behind in hypersonics. We failed to deter Russia. Last year,
so what do you mean we're behind in hypersonics? How do you?
Okay, who's ahead in hypersonics?
How do you make that assessment?
I don't know. I make that assessment because China is fielding hypersonic weapon systems and we are still developing them. I make that assessment because Russia actually used one. By the way, your own people brief us that we are behind and that China is winning. Are you aware of the briefings we get on hypersonics?
I am certainly aware of briefings that we provide to Congress.
But it's not just the hypersonic, it's all over the world. It's in Taiwan, where China's last year flew more sorties than ever before. It's North Korea, on pace to shatter prior records, the number of missiles that they are testing. And so while everyone else in the world seems to be developing capabilities and being more strategic, we got time to embrace critical race theory at West Point, to embrace socialism at the National Defense University, to do mandatory pronoun training.
CNN reported on Monday that the United States successfully tested a hypersonic missile in mid-March, but kept quiet for 2 weeks to avoid escalating tensions with Russia as Joe Biden was about to travel to Europe, according to a defense official familiar with the matter. This was reported on Monday this week. I mean, Matt Gaetz knows, he knows. So look, I don't really care about these hypersonic missiles. I don't care if they did fail. And I don't care if our hypersonic missiles failed while China succeeded. Like this arms race that Republicans are like super thirsty for, and corporate Democrats, to be fair, are also thirsty for, is not something I'm interested in, supporting or being in favor of. This is money that gets wasted toward military weaponry that is not meant to really keep us safe. It's meant to fatten the pockets of the defense contractors who end up getting a redistribution of wealth from our taxpayer money into their corporations, into their pockets. Like the fact that we're like, oh no, but actually, no, we actually succeeded in testing these special missiles. I don't care, We did succeed, but still don't care.
So, and it's even a tiny bit worse than that, because what he's pushing Lloyd Austin to do is to spend more money on defense. So what he could have done, and by the way, are there any Democrats in Congress? Why aren't you challenging Lloyd Austin on legitimate grounds just as aggressively? Oh, but that would hurt the feelings of the Biden administration. Wow, I care a lot about that. So Lloyd Austin worked for defense contractors. Matt Gaetz, why didn't you question him about that? the same contractors who wasted trillions of dollars of taxpayer money. Instead, you want them to waste more. You want them to waste more. So if you're a right-wing voter, understand Matt Gaetz thinks you're stupid and thinks, oh yeah, if I just talk about race, all my voters are racist, and they'll get distracted. And we'll all still keep stealing all of that money. We'll fund it all to defense contractors, and I'll have all this great theatrics about, oh, I am against you, Lloyd Austin. Spend more, take the taxpayer money and just throw it in the garbage, burn it, but mainly stuff it into my pockets, right? Meanwhile, theatrics. But if you're a right-wing voter, you got a choice. You can prove them right and go, oh yeah, I am dumb, and all I care about is race. And if they're taking my money and handing it to defense contractors and totally and utterly, basically robbing me, I love it. I want to vote for Matt Gaetz again as long as he's talking about race. Okay, that's up to you. Be a Republican, go for it.